He proposed to me and my sister on the same day, part one, the man of my dreams. They say love blinds you, that it makes you ignore the red flags you'd normally run from. And looking back now, I realize how true that is. My name is Ava, and until recently, I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. It all started one rainy afternoon at the bookstore, down the street from my apartment. I was huddled in a corner, thumbing through a worn-out copy of Pride and Prejudice, when someone bumped into me. A tall, charming man with messy dark hair and a crooked smile apologized profusely, and before I could even reply, he was helping me pick up my book. That was the first time I met Daniel. He had that kind of magnetic energy, the kind that made the room feel smaller, like he was the only person in it. We started talking right there on the bookstore floor. He told me he loved classic literature, especially the tragic ones. I told him I preferred happy endings. He laughed and said, "Maybe we'll write one together." I should have known then. Anyone who talks like a walking red flag probably is one. But I didn't know. Not yet. We exchanged numbers, and from that day on, things moved fast. Texts turned into late-night calls, which turned into weekend dates, which turned into him staying over more nights than not. He made me feel seen. Like every quirky little thing I did was fascinating to him. I talk with my hands. He said it was adorable. I eat cereal at night. He said it made me unique. I believed he was my person, the one the universe had handpicked just for me, and I wasn't the only one who thought so. My sister Lena met him 2 weeks after we started dating. I introduced them at my apartment during a game night with friends. They shook hands, smiled, and I swear I saw something, the tiniest flicker of something unreadable, pass between them, but I brushed it off. Lena was my best friend, my ride or die. We'd shared everything since childhood. There was no way I'd ever suspect her of anything questionable. Besides, she had her own life, her own problems. She was recovering from a bad breakup and had sworn off men. That's what she told me. Daniel quickly became a part of my everyday life. He brought me coffee in the mornings, left little notes in my purse, and talked about our future like it was already written. He said he'd never felt this way before. He said I was the one. One weekend, he took me on a surprise trip to a lake house just outside the city. We spent the entire weekend wrapped in blankets, sipping wine, and talking about kids, careers, even dog names. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the man I'm going to marry. I told Lena everything when I got back. Her face froze for a second, just a flicker. But then she smiled and said, "I'm so happy for you." Again, I ignored it. Daniel met my parents. He charmed them within 5 minutes. Even my father, who doesn't trust anyone, called him a good man. Daniel started hinting at something special. Big things coming, he'd say, always with a mischievous glint in his eyes. One night we were lying on my couch, the TV playing softly in the background, when he looked over at me and said, "Do you believe in fate?" I laughed. "I believe in people making choices." He smiled and whispered, "Then I choose you." I melted. I was all in. A few days later, he said he had a work trip, just 2 days out of town, a quick business meeting in another city. I barely questioned it. He'd done it before, but that weekend, something felt off. His messages were shorter. He didn't FaceTime like he usually did, and when I asked to call at night, he said he was too tired from meetings. Still, I didn't panic. I trusted him. Sunday evening, he came back with flowers and chocolates. "Missed you," he said, kissing my forehead. Whatever doubts I had, gone. But it was Monday, 1 week later, when everything changed. I came home to find Lena sitting on my bed, holding something small in her hand. Her face was pale, lips trembling. I rushed over. "What's wrong?" I asked. She opened her palm. It was a ring, not just any ring, an engagement ring. I stared at it, confused. "Wait, what? Did someone propose to you?" She nodded slowly, but there was no joy in her eyes. Just pain. "Daniel," she whispered. I laughed. "What?" She stood up. "Ava, he proposed to me on Saturday. During his work trip, he took me to dinner and said he'd been falling for me for months, that you were just a mistake." I couldn't breathe. For a moment, my brain refused to process it. I waited for the punchline, for the reveal. For her to laugh and say she was joking, but she didn't, I whispered. That can't be true. She looked down. I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe you two had broken up and he hadn't told me. I thought he was serious, until this morning, when I saw your Instagram story, the picture of you and him at brunch, holding hands. I dropped to the bed. My heart wasn't just broken, it was obliterated. How could this happen? My sister and my boyfriend on the same weekend? What kind of monster does that? And what kind of person was I? To not see it coming.